the time of avaricious men, lost in their lust for power, baby. Here they come again. They wave the flag and smile to distract us from the truth. Well, we pay like hell for the lies they tell. The thieves are on the loose. Don't go along with that.
Hi, everybody.
Land of the free.
We have an interview tonight, wherever you may be, with a friend that I met in Switzerland when we were at the center, last May and June in this year, 2023. And we were at a meeting there, and there are many people that, well, let's put it this way, we are all connected and interconnected through our study of the Meyer material and certain parts of it, especially like the creation energy teaching, but we haven't all met each other in person because we're kind of scattered around the world. So without further ado, without too much explanation, I'm going to introduce my friend Trey. And Trey is going to give us initially a little background about himself, and then I've got some questions for him as well. So Trey, come on in and say hi to the world and let us know a little bit about yourself. Yeah.
Hello, Michael. Hello, everyone. I'm Trey, 34 years old. I live in Switzerland, and I got to know the Billy Meyer case and his creation energy teaching back in September 2012. It was like I was very interested back then in the pyramids, archaeology, science, and I did some research on Google, YouTube, and suddenly I came across on Google, like in a forum, someone said, yeah, if you're really interested in the pyramids and more, then you should check out the Billy Meyer material. And I was like, who's Billy Meyer? And I did some further research. I found Billy Meyer, the creation energy teaching, and I read about the teaching. I saw the UFO pictures, videos, and of course, at the beginning, I was very skeptical, but suddenly I had an inner urge, like something, an intuition, like this is true. You should check it out. You should go deeper, do some research, and this is what I did over the years. And then I started to contact Figu. I started to order the books, to study the material, to read the contact reports, and so on and so forth. Now, years later, I'm here talking to you, Michael.
Thank you. So would you say that, well, this was something discovered by you when you were still then in your 20s. Were there people in your immediate circle that you knew who were interested in this type of thing?
Let's say like this. I was, as a young child, I was always interested in, let's say, philosophy, wisdom, psychology. I remember when I was 4 years old, I was lying in bed. It was a winter's night. I was staring at the ceiling, and suddenly I felt like questions within myself, like fundamental life questions, like why am I here? How did I come here? What is my purpose? And who am I? What am I? How am I? Suddenly, like really fundamental questions. I remember as if it was yesterday. And then I got up. I went to the window and watched the starry sky. I saw those billion twinkling stars, and also suddenly I've had an inner feeling, like out of nowhere, like I knew inwardly that these are like distant foreign worlds. Mm-hmm. And then I started to ask myself as a very young child, what is the universe? Is it like, is it, how big is it? And so on and so forth. And later, unfortunately, I was always the only one in my circle, in my family, friendships, friend circle, school, and later on as well as an adult who was really interested in those kind of questions. And when I found Meyer's material, I mean, it's like another level advanced, and it challenges oneself to think for oneself, not to believe. It's no faith and belief, but really to think for oneself. As Ellie says, don't believe, think for yourself. And unfortunately, as I said, I never had anyone in my circle who had like the same mindset. And I was always like careful who I open myself to. My best friend, her name is Lena. She's also like my confident person. And I started to tell her about Billy Meyer, the creation energy teaching, and she was very open.
Wow.
And she listened to me, and she, until this day, I can always talk to her about it. Yeah.
And she,
like almost the only person. Yeah.
does she live in the same overall area you live in now, or was this wherever you were raised and brought up?
She lives nearby. Yeah, she lives nearby. Yeah. I live like by the way, from the center, like 15 kilometers away. It's like 12 miles, and yeah, pretty near.
Mhm.
And she lives also pretty near to the center. Yeah.
Where did you grow up? What was your family life like? In what country did you grow up then?
I was born in the Albanian Kosovo. Then I came with my parents to Switzerland. I grew up here in Switzerland. I went to school in Switzerland. I also completed an apprenticeship here in Switzerland. Since I'm happy here in Switzerland. Yeah.
I kind of understand, but I won't go into it because I'm not that knowledgeable about your country of origin, where you were born and
Mhm.
grew up.
Mhm.
So did you find, since you did say you grew up in Switzerland,
Yeah.
how did you find the people in your in your community in terms of, let's say, the way your family was raised, and the culture, the beliefs, whatever? How did that work for you? Was it an easy transition, or was it like really being in a very foreign place?
Yeah. I grew up in Christianity, and especially the culture of the Albanian culture is like my family is Christianity. And at the beginning, I mean, I grew up in this religion, and I just, as a young child, I believed everything. But as I grew older, I started to ask myself, and then when I found the creation energy teaching and Billy Meyer, I realized that my faith beliefs are wrong. The opinions I had until that day were wrong. I could prove it through critical thinking, through neutral thinking. And then I started with meditation, and I started to practice daily. And the more I practiced meditation, the more clear sightedness I could attain. And then I saw also like, wow, how wrong I was, and also like bad habits I wasn't aware before. And at the beginning, when I found the creation energy teaching, it was very difficult because those kind of belief forms, they are really like, how shall I say, they are really like burned in one's consciousness. And when you grow up with it, then of course I was challenged. Like, first I was like, okay, wait, this is like, it's not in alignment with the religion. And then I started to go further and further. Then I realized, wait, this is the creation energy teaching. These words of wisdom, these profound words of truth, they are right, they are true. And then I started to through my critical thinking, to see, hey, this is, it's like I was wrong. And it was a very difficult path at the beginning. And it wasn't like a topic I could discuss with my family or with friends or with colleagues, because most of them, they are really like strong believers in religion. And I always said something like, yeah, I'm not religious, I don't believe in that stuff. And I always could sense that they don't like it. But they don't really, how to say, don't really interfere. Yeah. But I could sense that they are not open to talk about what's beyond the horizon yet.
Mm. And
It was always difficult to find out, like, who can I trust, who can I talk to. And when the years went over, I learned like where I should remain silent and where I can talk. Yeah.
right. And have you found any people in the overall Figu community that, apart from your friend Lena, that you now can communicate with more openly and discuss these things?
Yes, definitely, yeah. When I go to work to Figu, then I meet some people like from abroad and even here from Switzerland, start conversations, sharing their experiences, life experiences, their difficulties, their discovery of Billy Meyer material, the creation energy teaching. And it's always interesting to hear people, to listen to people, what kind of life experiences they have in their backpack.
Yeah.
And it's quite similar. Yeah.
Sure. And so the meditation, did you come to do your own meditations? Did you learn from Billy's books or other sources, any and all of these?
Oh, no. I was always interested in meditation since I was a child, when I saw those Shaolin movies.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't Shaolin or Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan back then, but I didn't know how to meditate. And when I was always curious about meditation, but when I found Billy, then I saw, hey, he's writing about meditation. Then I went further. Then I found, okay, he has 2 books on meditation, and let me show you to you. Then I found his book, Einführung in die Meditation, Introduction to Meditation. So I started to read it. At the beginning, it was very difficult, profound, and I had to read it again and again until I understood it. Then I realized, like, yeah, this really requires daily practice, and not just meditation, like, for example, for 15 or 20 minutes, but like a permanent state daily meditation to pay attention to everything I'm thinking, feeling, acting, doing, behaving, with myself, with people, environment, with the surrounding, with the world. And yeah, at the beginning it was also how shall I say, matter of patience. So I also realized, wow, I'm very impatient. And then by time, if we are like consistent, then everything can be learned. Yeah.
Yes.
But it was a long path.
You know, we have Billy's books. Obviously, the books we have are, half of the book is the original German, and half of it is the English translation. And you're fortunate enough to read the German and speak it fluently, so that you can benefit fully and directly from all that
Yes.
contains, right? That's a great thing. So you did say that you go to the center in Switzerland. You're not that far from it. What's that about? What do you go there to do? Tell us more about that, if you would.
I try to go there once a month on a Saturday, because from Monday to Friday I work 100%, and I try, as I said, once a month on a Saturday. I go there, work in the forest, in the garden. I help, like, for example, Yobus, Cunio, and work also with other passive group members and meet other people there. I really tremendously appreciate, like, if I have any questions, I can ask them on site or get advice on site. Yeah, this is really like beneficial and of great value for me. Yeah.
That is great. Yes. Do I was going to ask you something about, oh yeah, this, through the meditation and through what you've been learning all along, this idea of neutrality, and you mentioned it, and that's one of the key elements, of course, that is taught by Billy in the creation energy teaching. And how do you experience that, let's say, in your workaday world with people who may know nothing about this material, nor maybe know anything about your own involvement with it? How does that work?
I observe this almost every day at work, in my private life, like, or when I'm in the train, or just walking outside, or in a coffee shop. For example, neutrality, neutral, positive, balanced thinking. I observe people, when people start to tell something, to explain something, then instead of the other one to listen to it, to him or to her, they just pop in, and they interfere with their opinions without even examining what the other is saying or telling, explaining, like prejudging, biased opinions, thinking. And then I just sit there and listen, observe, and give my best to observe as clearly as possible. And then I can observe, like, the speaker and the listener, but actually the listener is not really listening, but just interfering. And there I can see that there is no state of neutrality, or like, for example, I observe a lot, like, when people don't want to tell something, then others come to them and say, like, hey, tell me about this, or some private stuff, or whatever. They force them instead of respecting their privacy, the neutrality. It seems like people have no idea in general, the majority of people have no idea in general what neutrality is. And when you mention it, they look at you like strange. And to me, it's neutrality. To me, since I found Billy Meyer and the creation energy teaching, and since I started to meditate and to improve myself, to me, neutrality is like everything, everything. Neutral to myself. As Billy said, he quoted once, if you want to be free, you have to be neutral. And you have to be neutral, positive, balanced. And this is like really from within. And yeah, I wish people or the world would be more neutral. Yeah.
It would be nice. Speaking, I just recently, this past week sometime, I read something online that was attributed to a Native American person. I'm not sure in the time it was supposedly stated, but they also talked about, they were saying how the quote unquote, the white man, doesn't know how to listen. And when, when when people are speaking, they always want to rush in and interrupt them with their opinions. And so they were saying, we have learned how to listen and not interrupt. And if we have anything to say, we wait till the person is done. Otherwise, if there's nothing to add to it or ask, it is sufficient and we go on our way. So it's, our so-called Western way, they were speaking about the people that basically invaded this country that I live in and, destroyed their way of life. And what the way of life was for many indigenous people, probably also in other parts of the world, I would think, who, learned certain ways. And also the family structures for people used to be stronger in our country. When Black people were brought here as slaves, just, kind of a quick comment on it. Oh, the strength, many of the people who came with families, there was a familial strength there that was broken up deliberately by slave owners, and also that the men would no longer be in the relationships in a way. And what it's come to this day, this is just a perspective I've looked at, is that to a large degree, that family structure for a group of people, for a race, if you will, that had, just generally speaking, apparently stronger family structures, that was destroyed, and it led to a lot of problems for Blacks in this country. And of course, there are other people that have broken families now. It's not only one race, but that whole thing about not interrupting and honoring a tradition of respect for the speaker, it's an interesting thing, isn't it, in the teaching?
For example, at work, with clients, I often observed like the client is coming, for example, for with his demands, with his wishes, visions, and sometimes people just don't listen, and the client tries it to explain it in another way, in another form. People sometimes they just don't listen. They think like, yeah, I have to convince the client or whatever to do something else, or because he doesn't understand, because he's not listening. Mm-hmm. And then I often observe the client gets frustrated, and or for example, in some cultures, families, they manipulate their children, like sons or daughters, to do something else and not to decide for themselves, not to think for themselves, or to educate them to think for themselves. They manipulate them to marry someone for the sake of wealth, money, whatever, other reasons. And this is far away from neutrality. Mm-hmm. This is not neutral. This is not true love. No true neutrality, no true compassion, freedom, peace, and wisdom, of course.
Would you say that habit is exceptionally strong in families where there's a strong religious upbringing and religious belief system?
Yes, I would say that. Yeah, in general, yeah.
I've always wondered when, children, growing up, I grew up in America, I did not have a religious indoctrination, for which I'm eternally grateful to my family. But I do know that friends of mine and just children at school would always speak about, I'm a Catholic, or I'm a this or a that. And it was only a little bit later on that I started to wonder, well, how is it that, at this young age, people, young children, were already identifying themselves or describing themselves in terms of such a thing that they would not and could not and hadn't independently sought out, studied, and decided for themselves so much. And it's an indoctrination. And we know from Billy's writing, of course, how insidious the effect of not thinking for oneself, not learning neutral, positive thinking is, and how, religion had supplanted long ago that whole possibility for a long, long time in our history. And it is only now, with the return of the teaching, courtesy of Billy Meyer and his 60 plus books, that humankind will have the opportunity to straighten ourselves out over time, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully.
And you also,
you know,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, please.
No, I want to hear what you're going to say about that, because I'll change to another question in a minute. So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I had something to say about the same topic. As you said, when children identify themselves from at a young age with religion, I also observed this many times when I was a child, and also nowadays when I see children and saying like, yeah, I'm this and I'm that and whatever. And I also had a lot of experience, like when people ask me, what are you? What kind of religion do you have? And I say, I do not belong to any religion. Yeah, you don't believe in God? I said, define God. And when you start telling or explaining about creation, the universe, and what the term God actually means, like for a highly evolved human being, a king of wisdom, they don't understand these things. And then I just let it go and remain silent and go my way.
To move on after that.
That's all.
Well,
Yes.
you have a YouTube channel too now, right? And
Yes.
you're going to send me a link to it so that I
Mhm.
also post it for you. And tell me about that channel. How long have you had it? What are you putting up there for people that don't know?
I started in 2018. It was, I think, March 2018 with writing. So first of all, I got inspired by Billy Meyer. When I read his teachings, I was like, wow, this German is very high, very advanced, and he uses words I never heard before. And even when I ask like people, like highly educated people, academics or whatever, they don't even know some words. And then I started to think. I went for a walk, meditation, and suddenly I had some inspirations. I started to write down my ideas or quotes. And by time I also found you, and I saw your workshops. I saw that you're also a lyricist, a writer, a poet, and then I also got inspired by you. And by the way,
Oh,
future self. It's very helpful.
well,
And and then I started to write a lot of quotes, and I started to publish them like with my small circle, like with my brother and sister, with some closer friends. And later on, my brother was like, "Hey, you should start record some videos for the people because it could help." And people started to text me like, "Hey, I like your quote," or what you're doing, and so on. Then I started to record some videos between 2020 and 2023, and later on, I posted all like on YouTube for the people to share my life experience, if you will, to share my life experience, because Billy, he helped me through his teachings. You helped me through your teaching and through your work, life work, and your media presence. And I was like, people should know this. I didn't want to come like didn't want to tell people immediately about the case, but I decided first of all to start with my life experience to share with them. Yes.
this is great. And where do you see yourself going, or how do you see your life unfolding from here on? What is your intention? Do you have some? You don't have to, say anything you don't want. But what's
Um, I plan I'm still writing. I plan to publish a book, my aphorisms, like the book title is a journal to myself. So the letter S in myself is capitalized. Like, yeah, I've been journaling or writing to my innermost self because I couldn't talk to anyone else. I always felt like, yeah, how to say, during those years, sometimes very lonely. I couldn't talk to anyone about it. And then I gave the title Journal to myself. And I plan to publish it by the end of next year, hopefully. And I constantly try to improve myself, like daily. I don't like live in the day, just wake up and yeah, do whatever I do. But my day is like structured. I wake up, meditation, some gymnastics. I go to work. I try to pay attention. If I'm not at work, I still try to pay attention or to meet people, to listen to people if someone needs support, help, or advice. I hope I can improve further in the future, so others can will know will know about the case, about Billy Maya creation, energy teaching, and to give also my contribution to the whole. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you
and I also hope I meet more people like you, like other who know the teaching, who know Figu, who know Billy. Yeah.
it would seem to be a certainty that it will unfold that way, with all of the possibilities that life will bring to augment.
I'm optimistic. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I've appreciated very much having this conversation. As I said in the beginning, you and I met at the meeting in Switzerland earlier in 2023, and we have this photograph to prove it. And I look forward to seeing you again, if at all possible. Believe me, it'll be fun to connect up, and I'm glad to be able to share your story with the people that catch our show and see our videos and all of that. So is there anything you wanted to add to all of this?
Yes, something very important. The teaching, the core of the teaching, the most important of the teaching is, the most important part of the teaching is self-responsibility. So as you once put it perfectly into words in one of your YouTube videos, the core of the teaching is self-responsibility, the ability to see things as they really and truly are, and not to blame others, but to bear the responsibility for our thinking, feeling, acting, behaving, and of course, the full responsibility of our own life, and to learn about and to observe the law of cause and effect. Because if we enable ourselves to observe the absolute logical law of cause and effect, then everything starts to make sense. Everything starts to make sense, and everything has like a logical reason. And this is like what I learned in my experience during the years, when I thought like, hey, why is this not working, or what's happening here? Now I must have, wait, break time, pause, let's observe. And I try to observe or to recognize the causal, the chain of cause and effect. Yeah. And this is very important. I mean, the universe is based on cause and effect. Yeah. And if we like it, whether we like it or not, yeah. And self-responsibility is very important.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, my head's nodding to all of that, of course. That is so important for people to begin to
and
understand.
to think for ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
think for ourselves.
Well, I couldn't be happier with all of that. And I thank you, Trey, for sharing your experiences, your outlook on life, your personal history, and your plans for the future. We will put up this, the link here for your YouTube channel, and we will stay in touch.
Thank you.
And so I think
Michael, thank you for your time.
you're very welcome. And I will, certainly, let's see, I think we're going to be able to share this with people on a couple different platforms. And until later, then I will say to you, Salome, thank you very much. And Salome, we will stay in touch, of course. Thanks again.
I just, if you allow me, I just want to share something with people, as something from your side, which has been a tremendous inspiration for me during the years, and it's really very powerful, and it's also regarding responsibility, self-love, and if I would like to share it, if of course you allow me. It's a poem of you.
Really?
And yeah, it goes like, out of nowhere, so it seems, some love gets on your way. You don't have the strength to throw it out, so it makes a place within to stay. Where were you when I needed you? You'll ask, and love will say, oh, I do believe in you. I never went away. Oh, I do believe in you. I never went away. Salome, Michael. Thank you very much, and I'm all looking forward to meet you soon.
I'm very glad that we could have an interview today with Trey in Switzerland, and to learn about his own personal journey, how he discovered the Billy Meier contacts, and how he actually has changed and evolved his life through the study of the creation energy teaching. In our bookstore, we have over a dozen of Meier's books, and they are, of course, invaluable for making these kinds of changes in our lives and for navigating these coming times. As a matter of fact, the coming times are already upon us, and they will only keep on coming. So for those of us who are looking for something to ground ourselves in a reality that is not subject to the whims of fate, so to speak, not to the changes that take place in the dramas of the world, which only continue to spiral in a downward direction. And as they implode, they keep dragging more things down with them. We don't have to go along with that in the land of the free or anywhere else. We can, and we will, if we wish to, change and navigate these times and this life, utilizing the best information, the deepest and most thought-provoking information ever published, in my opinion. Find out for yourself, visit our shop, look at books like The Might of the Thoughts and Introduction to Meditation, The Way to Live, and other books by Meier that are just astounding. If you get one book, if you only get one book in your life, and you study it and repeatedly study it, you will find that it is an ever unfolding teaching that always reveals something new each time you return to it, no matter how many times you've read it or any parts of it. So find out for yourself. We look forward to seeing you again next week. And thank you very much. Salome.